In my most recent channeling, the Divine Mothers mentioned that people are going to be awakening at rapid speed with more knowings, more remembrances, more wisdom that they brought with them on Earth. And I want to talk about that a little bit and share my personal story, since they called me out during that, on how to intuitively follow your nudges and develop your gifts, even when they vary from maybe what you might see routinely in spiritual or intuitive communities. Because we're here to bring through new perspectives, to weave together lost knowledge, and to go beyond what's known before. And that means trusting what's emerging with us and within each other, even when it's hard. So let's get started. So I'm going to be sort of bringing this down into my own understandings of what they mean by allowing those to awaken and remember and bring through their own knowings. Through my own journey, which I know for those who awaken now, I expect to be different, but there is always pieces and things that you can glean from other people's stories. I mentioned before that my psychic journey and progression moved very quickly. I had a major shift in August of 2023, so about a year and a half ago, and proceeded to awaken my gifts very quickly through telepathy, automatic writing, reading the Akashic field, feeling and perceiving energy, visualization, and strong knowing. And sometimes even when it called for it, seeing a little bit between dimensions, but usually that involved Marilyn following me around. It's no big deal. To very early having spontaneous past life memories and integrating past life knowing. To also being able to identify and see those who are part of my soul family and mission group and who they are very clearly, which sometimes looked a bit like walking out to a strange person on YouTube and having this moment, and then also feeling that one time they stabbed you in the solar plexus. And I will share that much of my activation during this time period occurred during my first QHHT session that I had done in August of 2023. It involved a lot of movement and a lot of energy coming through. And after that session, I could instantly go into an altered brainwave state. At first, anytime I closed my eyes, and now I can do it with intention to do that. And I once asked my guides why I could do that, because when it first starts happening, you wonder if it's something you should be concerned about. And they said it was so I could connect with them and that they needed to connect with me. A few experiences, memories, and knowings that I had previously, because I was always curious in magic and the occult before this, I knew that being responsible for my own energy and energetic protection and boundaries were important, which led me to studying the form of hypnosis that I did, which involves energetic clearing and repair, which learning that opened my own memories on energetic protection, clearing, and my psychic skills even more. I never had a one-on-one teacher. I had groups and people that I do consider a mentor. They may not consider me a mentee, but never worked with in the traditional sense, where they are holding a container for me to develop, whether one-on-one or a more intimate group intuition development container. And I will share that when you have as much information as I do come in rapidly, and when you begin to be as aware of your multidimensional self as I have been, it can be really hard not to have someone beside you in that container, not to know if how you are following your intuition is correct. But I also believe it is how I was meant to do it. I never felt called to join a more intimate intuition development container in that way. And I think it was because I wasn't meant to put myself in boxes. Like, I don't even like to limit myself to the understandings of clairs, because I think there's so much more than that we feel like doesn't fit into those boxes. I had my guides, I had my higher self, and a few friends who would listen to my stories, let me practice with them and share their feedback. And I know a lot of people have had similar experiences, and I know it's very common for a lot of us to feel lonely on this journey. So I know people have had similar experiences where they're learning to trust themselves and feel like they're doing it on their own. And that is probably a way that will allow us to have unshakable trust in self. And so why is this important? I believe that as people awaken and learn to trust their own development, that there are a few foundational skills that you should have that will then allow you to develop your own gift, your own knowings, and to follow them. And that is to know how to take responsibility for your energy, know how to clear or receive clearing of entities, foreign energetic attachments, and energetic blocks, and have an understanding of them and how to shield, protect, and shield your energy in spaces. And I also know from my own experience that each individual's experience with entities and energetic attachments is going to be different. But clearing yourself of these energetic blocks allows you to know that the information you are receiving is yours and coming from the right sources. And also learning how you receive information. It can be many different ways: feeling, hearing, patterns, signs, visuals, smells, nature, and learn how to decipher it. And then put faith into that to play with it and develop that. And knowing how to align with what is right for you, how to know when something feels like a fuck yes and when something feels like a fuck no. Or maybe maybe not right now, or I'm not sure about that. And it's following the nudges to do what's right for you. And so I did this by pretty early on learning how to take my own quantum journeys, how to regress myself, or more like how to recall my own soul's memory and to tap into my own energetic field. And I would also do some guided ones as well as being part of a great community that did regular journeys. But anytime I would want to activate something, unblock something, or understand more about a situation or relationship, and I felt the nudge to do so, I would take my own journey at first, usually to see past lives, connections with others, or something that I needed to understand about the situation, to work with my own energy to unblock and activate myself, which is one of the reasons I created Empowered Soul Journey, to provide the ability for you to do that on your own, while the guided journeys sort of hold your hand to start. Through meditation, through my own intuition, automatic writing, the Akashic field, I learned how to seal and clear my own spaces, how to clear myself, how to activate my own light language, which I already shared, how to awaken my own Kundalini, which I also shared. I've worked with my own DNA, my own energetic blueprints for my gifts. I've healed ley lines around my house. I've cleared stuck spirits in my town, cleared and guided others to healing with result, met people from past lives or other places, and released blocks on them that I had placed on them with a mutual knowing and understanding. I've also done things like called spirits to me in order to clear them, which was helpful at the time, but also a little jarring. There's more things, but in order to keep things short, I'll say this. In a hypnosis session I had on myself, I believe it is the ancient Japan one. I'm going to place the clip in because it's a good clip. I asked about feeling a bit of imposter syndrome. How do I know all these things and how do I share them without training, certifications, etc.? And I'll share what I brought through during that session.
I'd also like to know something about her latest awakening, that it happened so quickly and so many things have been activated and coming into her awareness. She feels like she is more advanced than some people who have been very awake for a while, and it gives her imposter syndrome. What does she need to know about this to get over it and to trust her abilities more?
Imposter syndrome in this way only exists because people have put frameworks, boundaries on these sort of areas, and this didn't used to exist. There were no trainings, no courses, no steps to follow. They just came naturally. It's a natural talent that you can practice or you cannot practice. And it's not the same for everyone. Some people have stronger abilities at certain times because it is the right time. And they didn't come out of nowhere. They were there all along. They just couldn't be accessed. They were abilities, gifts that your soul has had, that your soul has worked on for many lives. And she is much older than a lot of souls, much more expansive than a lot of souls. And she was held back for a very long time because it was needed, but it's not needed anymore. So the imposter syndrome is just in her head. It's just in a lot of people's head. There is no framework. There are practices, yes, that can make it easier to access, to improve things that people should be doing, the basics, but it's not as clear cut as point A to point B to point C.
About honoring and trusting your soul knowings, your soul gifts. Your soul already knows how to do these things. And there's been other ways that I've remembered. I mentioned spontaneously remembering, as well as remembering through dreams, through music, through languages and landscape. And there will be things that come online for others, knowing memories or stories and past experiences that have not been known before. This is because we were not ready to know them yet. This is also because we could not know yet. It could not be fully accessed while some things were healing, being unlocked and rebalancing, while the seeking eye was finding the keeper of the all. And there will be new perspectives and pieces of the puzzle that will be revealed, where in order to create heaven on earth, we will be creating and bringing through beyond where we have been previously, at least in documented history, and beyond what has been revealed in many current intuitive systems as well. And we have to accept and allow those knowings to come through within ourselves and with others. We can't repeat the old cycles of suppressing that which we do not understand, that which we do not see for ourselves. We have to allow them to be possibilities in the realm of our understanding in order to find the pieces of the truth that we align with. And we have to weave the pieces back together. And I know that there are pieces and clues and just enough of the threads already there to help us understand and put them together. But we can't let the belief that we are finished knowing, finished expanding, keeping us from seeing it. In my most recent channeling, the Divine Mothers mention those that have gotten stuck in the light. If you've watched some of my older videos, you may know I don't agree with a lot of light versus dark rhetoric, or love and light rhetoric, or in keeping yourself blind to what is in the shadows. You cannot see in complete light, nor can you see in complete darkness. And this is because, as I say, keeping yourself blind to all parts of yourself is not healing, is not wholeness. It does not allow you to unleash your full expression, and it does not allow you to see what you are holding energetically that does not belong to you anymore. Programs, foreign energies, emotional or energetic attachment. And we came to experience the full spectrum of ourselves, of our feelings, our experiences, and that includes our own darkness. And some may also see this as reflecting what some consider spiritual bypassing. And for a while, I actually hated that term because I felt that some people who gravitate towards light first were following the path that was right for them, and then at some point they'd be shoved back down when it was right for them to confront the parts of themselves they needed to. But some can cling so tightly to only light. They allow their ego to cling so tightly to only light that they refuse to see the rest of themselves. But I also know that there are people strategically in those roles for a higher purpose. But I think we will see more of that coming back down to be integrated with the full self, because our bodies are like prisms. They allow our light and our spirit to shine through us and refract the full spectrum of being. And we all chose certain amounts of frequency and light to do that in order to allow ourselves to be bridges between Earth, between the cosmos, between the all. And I've also seen by working with others when they have worked with teachers who did not allow themselves, the teachers did not allow themselves to expand with their student. And so the students get stuck. The teacher did not hold the frequencies, the knowings in order to properly empower the student to activate themselves or follow their own knowing. And the teacher themselves did not have the right frequency to do it for them, which the do it for them bit, we'll just do away with that. And this is what we will encounter. Those who need to activate themselves, those who need more on their journey than the teacher can provide. Not that the teacher can't support or can't get to the frequency to hold a container to allow them to activate themselves, because sometimes you just need someone beside you and not in front of you, showing the way. But the teachers, in order to get there, need to allow themselves to be humbled in their knowing of self, to look at all parts of themselves and allow their own expansion to come through the body. And we are entering a time where we need to know that we are the student and we are the teachers for ourselves and for others, all at the same time. We hold both polarities, the student and the teacher, in equal measure on equal footing. And I also want to add, in case anyone needs to hear this, move on from the teachers that stop feeling aligned or try to box you in, and don't sit with the teaching and understandings you share with them, and don't blindly follow someone outside of yourself. From my own journey, I know the importance of feeling like you have someone beside you sharing the experience. For me, at first, it was a lot of fun. I felt like I was spending so much time doing it on my own that I started to feel like I couldn't move forward until there was someone beside me supporting that path and whatever that looked like. But that was also keeping me stuck and allowing myself to disregard, to forget everything I know about myself, my strength and my own power, and allowing me to fall into a little bit of my old patterns of a fear of self, when I also have to acknowledge those that have already and do stand beside me in the way that they can, where they are able to meet me. So this is my own personal share and applying to what came through in the channeling yesterday, or I posted it today. Whenever I post, I don't know when am I going to post this. And I hope it's helpful to have sort of a share and a breakdown in this way, how it applies to my own understandings. I do like to, or previously I have just liked to share channeled information in the way that it comes through so that you can put the pieces together for yourself. But I've been having a lot of nudges that sometimes you just need to translate it down to the 3D in order to understand. And while I may not do that with every channeling, if it's helpful to have more context in this way, please let me know in the comments. And as always, please like, share, and subscribe.